How's it going, wrestling fans? Thanks for tuning into this episode of the Wrestle Report, episode 21. This podcast can officially drink. And speaking of drink, grab yourself a Steve Weiser because it's 316 Day. Happy Austin 316 Day to everyone. Got myself a Broken Skull IPA to celebrate. And we're going to crack right into this episode right now. Don, how's it going, man? How are you?
I'm hanging in there, bro. Happy 316 Day, bro.
It's funny how many people don't know that. Like, I understand wrestling isn't as popular as it used to be, but I feel like when people talk about Stone Cold, like, they know who that is, but they don't know the 316 part of it. Like, I had to explain it to many people at work today. Like, some people got it after I told them, but others were like, it's like March 10th is like Super Mario Day because it's like MA and it looks like it says Mario, or like, I don't watch Star Wars, but I understand the May the 4th be with you thing, So for whatever reason, people don't always get this, but it is Austin 316 Day. I remember last year before we were doing like a wrestling podcast, I streamed like 2K19 and I just played a Stone Cold and like stunned a bunch of people just for something to do. But this works out a lot better, just having a podcast and be able to throw it right out there that it's Austin 316 Day.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Like some people still don't understand like Pi Day. Like a couple days was Pi Day. Like
it was March. March 14th. Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Some people you got to explain that to also. So no, not everybody's gonna get it. I watched not all of Raw, but I watched some of Raw yesterday. Did you see R-Truth in the Stone Cold gear and everything? So he's walking around backstage trying to get like Bad Bunny's title and everything, and he's got the Austin vest and he's got a smoking skull like replica, and he goes to try and jump Bad Bunny, but Priest is there, so he doesn't. So he acts like he was just there to gift him everything, and then Bad Bunny accepts all the gifts and actually gives him the 24/7 title back. But he's like, you know what? I respect you, Truth Man. He keeps calling him because he's got like the broken accent, and he gave him the belt back. So R-Truth is like the 58-time 24/7 champion now.
Oh yeah, Hall of Famer, bro.
Yeah, but that's got to be the longest. That's got to be the longest reigning 24/7 champion because he had it for like almost a month now, 3 weeks or something, right?
Yeah.
I think before that it might have been Gronk for the 2 weeks that he had it, but hell of a run for Bad Bunny for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. 100%, man.
I still
unfortunately I didn't get to watch Raw that much of Raw.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I had to do a triple overtime game.
As I was asking you, I was like, I knew you weren't watching it, so I'm glad I asked. Yeah. Basketball is really fun to work, but when games go into overtime and you're there like a whole hour longer than you planned, like it's no fun. But
oh no,
Don made his way through it. Yeah. Happy Austin 316 Day. Definitely check out that clip of R-Truth. Like, I wouldn't mind if eventually someone else takes over the 24/7 like key champion. Like R-Truth, he's done it so many times, but it's fun for now. I didn't expect to lead off the show with this, but this is where we went. We are going to get back on track. I actually want to start today with some of the NXT news. We talked about it last week that they were going to have two major announcements Commissioner Regal was going to have, and we assumed we knew both of them. We ended up getting one of the two right. The first one, of course, being NXT Women's Tag Team titles, which are awarded to the winners of the Dusty Classic just to be defended and then won by, was it Ember Moon and who's the other one?
Shotzi.
And Shotzi. So technically there's been two champions, right? I understand kind of giving it to the winner of the Dusty Classic because that's typically how that would go. I don't know why they didn't just do that in the first place. I don't know if they didn't think to make those belts until like afterwards, but to award the titles and then change them on the same night was a little strange. It kind of made it exciting because you didn't even know these belts were happening. They're given to one team and they lose them right away. Like, it was exciting, but like it's kind of strange to award them and lose them in the same like hour.
I said the same thing, but then I thought about it. I was like, okay, maybe there's a reason why they did this because later on in the show you saw why they did it. And I think the main reason why they didn't give the do it at first, the title at first, was because it probably wasn't done yet.
Mm-hmm.
It probably was running low on time, so they just decided, we're gonna let them go against the WWE Women's Tag Team match, tag team champions. But yeah, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with the team of Shotzi and Ember. I like them a lot.
Yeah,
I want to see who else is gonna who they're gonna challenge for the titles now.
Yeah, I was pretty happy for them too. I mean, I picked them to win the Dusty Classic, so like in a way, this kind of makes them as good as if they had won the Dusty Classic. I've always been a big Ember Moon fan. To see her win a title is always nice. But yeah, it works out. And when we were talking last week, you mentioned like there's almost more female tag teams in NXT than on the main roster. So like these titles were almost becoming necessary, and then eventually some of those teams will move to the main roster, and that'll help that division. So this is probably a good thing overall. I get the argument there's too many belts, but this might have been a necessary set, you know?
Yeah, I don't know if you saw though, like there was a lot of women that was like they had all the women lined up on the ramp. There was a lot of women on that team on NXT, so you can always put teams together and hope for the best. Like I can't lie to you, I really want to see Aaliyah and damn, I lost her name.
Okay.
But in the Robert Stone brand, she's part of the Robert Stone brand.
Okay, yeah. I mean, like you said, you just seeing the women there, you know that they could make as many teams as necessary. And I always like the blend of like true tag teams and like thrown together. Like you don't want everybody thrown together, but a couple is good here.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah.
So the other announcement we assumed was going to be the move to Tuesday for NXT, and that is still yet to be officially announced. They kind of backwalked a little bit that might not necessarily be happening. I still think there's a very good chance that it happens after WrestleMania. I think maybe they didn't want to announce it with a month left on Wednesday. They want to make it like a exciting move, like maybe the week or two before. So maybe that's what they're waiting on. But the other announcement ended up being the NXT takeover for the WrestleMania season will also be 2 days. And I don't know that I love this, not because there's not enough NXT talent to make back-to-back nights of good wrestling, but TakeOver has always been this like perfectly constructed 2 to 3 hour event that never runs too long, and every match seems important. And obviously WrestleMania being 2 days, I kind of buy that. I hope they go back to the one night once the world's back to normal. I understand why they're doing it the way they're doing it this year, much like last year, but I'm sure I'll love every match that's on these 2 nights, but takeovers to me just seem they should be one night. Hopefully this is the only time they do this. I don't know how you feel about it.
I actually kind of like it because I think I know why they're probably doing it. It's probably because they're the first takeover on that Wednesday is going to be on USA, and then the next one's going to be on the WWE network. So I think the reason why they're doing this is probably going to be like it's the send off, and I have a feeling they're going to make that announcement most likely on Wednesday.
That's a good point. Yeah, I didn't think of that. So they could do that, and that would make sense. I am a little confused about the like one night's on USA, and then you got to go to a whole nother channel. Like, in what other instance has it ever happened? Have you ever watched a show and it's like next week's episodes is going to be on a totally different channel? Like, that doesn't normally. Obviously, wrestling you can't really compare to other like TV things, but like, I think it is a way of making people want to make the move to Peacock because like they're trying to make it as gradual as you can, but eventually they got to tell people like just go to Peacock. Like I think this is actually exclusive to Peacock at this point. This second.
Yeah. I think because the Fastlane is gonna be the last one.
The
last one on the WWE network.
Which we'll get to Fastlane here at the end of the show. But I'm excited to see what matches they come up with. You kind of see it taking shape. Finn Balor defended his title as we assumed he would, and it looks like he's going to be facing Cross at the pay-per-view. That's going to be great. Hope he's 100%, and like maybe he's gonna win that. We'll talk about it more when it comes to that. But like Finn was if he was meant to just hold the belt, he's the best like belt holder they've ever had because he really has carried that brand since he got it. So the other matches, of course, will fall into place. But so we got one of the two announcements correct, and like we both think, I think that another announcement will come. Like you said, probably at TakeOver. That's a good way to do it too.
Yeah, that's what I said too. That's what I was thinking.
So on the other Wednesday night show, really the biggest. Actually, let's talk this first because when we talked about Revolution, there was a lot to bring up, and I knew we were going to forget something. And by we, I mean me, because I'm the one that writes down what we're going to talk about. So I knew I was going to forget something, and we did forget the Hall of Fame worthy announcement, talent acquisition being Christian Cage going to AEW. So before we talk about what happened on Dynamite, I do want to catch up on that. Does the Hall of Fame worthy tag they put on him, while accurate, I think some people just set themselves up for failure thinking it was going to be CM Punk or Brock Lesnar. I don't know about you. I was convinced it was Kurt Angle because, I mean, he didn't do us no favors
video.
posting that video that he did about like, one more go around or whatever. So it wasn't, they didn't lie, but a lot of people are disappointed. But honestly, I think that's on them. Like CM Punk straight up came out and said it wasn't going to be him. And if you really thought it was going to be Brock Lesnar, you don't understand how this works, I think. So, I mean, like John Cena was mentioned. Like people just don't know. I don't know who they were expecting it to be. But it was a surprise. It was mentioned, of course. And Paul Heyman did a really good dig on SmackDown to Edge. He's like, listen, even your best friend got out of here. He doesn't want to deal with Roman on this road to WrestleMania, which is, something genius that only Paul can do. But what did you think of Christian Cage in AEW?
I'm okay with it. I'm actually okay with it because I actually like Christian a lot, and I think that he's going to help this show out, help out the show a lot. I still, to this day, I'm still gonna I'm always gonna say it. I feel like AEW is definitely gonna need another show on TV.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna need another show because they got too much talent.
Yeah,
they got way too much talent. There's still people that's just chilling in the backgrounds right now, and I'm all for giving more people jobs here and there, but you gotta worry about your people's first,
Yeah, they did launch their second YouTube show, the Dark Elevation. I watched bits and pieces of it. It definitely seems more important than regular Dark. Like you could just tell the matches are like with main roster guys, and things like that. So it's gonna help in the meantime. But yeah, eventually they're gonna need, another television show, like you said. For me with Christian, like Christian Cage and regular Christian, are almost two different people. It's almost like Clark Kent and Superman. Because like I used to go to TNA. I was like, my peak attending events was TNA right around the Christian Cage era. And I remember going to a pay-per-view, it might have been Final Resolution, I'd have to look it up, but the main event was Kurt Angle for the world title, Kurt Angle versus Sting versus Christian Cage. And the third guy did not seem out of place. Like that's how good he did in TNA. So like I know that he can be at that main event level. It is a little strange. Like he got in, Omega's face, and it looks like they might even do a little like title program. Obviously, I don't think Christian's going to win, but if he could just have like a barn burner with Kenny Omega, that might show everybody like, see, like this guy is as good as advertised. But I've seen Pete Christian, and it was never in WWE. It was definitely in TNA. It was, multiple time world champion there. Yeah, like Tom Coe was his heater, and AJ Styles joined him. He had like the Christian Coalition and everything, and like he did a lot of really good stuff in there. So if he can channel that version of himself, I think it's a great pickup. But I'm not someone that thinks they need to sign up every guy that WWE lets go of, but this is someone that I think that could actually help. This isn't Sting where you have to really methodically pick when he's going to wrestle, or Big Show has to be there. Like you can just throw this guy in there in different storylines and title hunts and title pictures, and it'll still make sense because he can still go now that he's healthy.
Oh yeah, I'm. If anything, I'm more happy for him just because I know that he probably can go still. And once I saw him at the Royal Rumble, actually no, before the Royal Rumble, went the whole storyline with Randy Orton, with the unsanctioned match. Once I saw that, I was like, okay, he's coming back. He's coming back, yo. He took a punch to the face or to the head. He's coming back for someone that's been known for concussions and stuff. Oh yeah, he was coming back, and I would still say that I would rather him in WWE just because the story is right there, But now I understand why he wasn't mentioned right after the Royal Rumble because he wasn't coming back.
Yeah, some people even put it out there that like we thought the Royal Rumble was like proof that he was coming back, but it was more that hug with him and Edge wasn't like a we're back. It was more of a goodbye. Looking back on it now, which I don't even think they knew it at the time. I think Christian would have assumed that they. I think he's even mentioned that there was. He assumed he'd be placed in some sort of role, and they didn't really have like plans for that for him. So he just kind of apparently he just kind of put the feelers out to Tony Khan, and the talks picked up very quickly. This is not the Big Show thing was somewhat longer and drawn out. The Sting thing they've probably been working on since AEW started as a company. So this was a much, just you ever wonder how, your favorite NFL team free agency is going on right now. You're like, how do we get that guy that they get the guy at the right time and they get him in the room and they keep him there until he signs kind of deal. It seemed more like that. So now that he's here, even if he only, let's say he wrestled 65, 70% of a full schedule, I think he can benefit a lot of guys. Like him versus Hangman could be interesting. Him versus like a Ricky Starks could be great. I'd love to see like when Hook finally, and I don't know why I'm enamored with like when he finally starts like in ring stuff, but like him against Christian would be the way like Dominic Mysterio against Seth Rollins was, like just the learning opportunity that would be for someone like him. And like the jokes he can do with a guy like Peter Avalon or something. Like there's just so many. He's just like a Swiss Army knife of like, you need funny, he can do funny. You need serious, he can be serious. You know, like I think he can just fit in a lot of great situations. And I don't know that I would have put him in this Kenny program right away, but we don't necessarily know where it's going yet. But it could work out. It could just be proof like, hey, he just put on a 20-minute banger with Kenny Omega. He's good to go. You don't have to worry about that. Similar to like Sting just took a power bomb from Brian Cage. He's good to go. You don't have to worry about that. I think they like to, you know, show people that sometimes. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to what Sting, not Sting, what Christian, Sting too, but looking forward to what Christian Cage is going to bring to this roster now that he's here.
Oh, yeah, I'm excited to see this. Let's give it a chance. Why not?
The other big news in AEW, I mentioned there's a TNT title match that I thought it was the right time to switch it over to Scorpio Sky because Darby Allin would be kind of hurt from the street fight. Ended up not going that route, but Scorpio Sky kind of snapped and turned heel after the fact. So this thing might not be over. And a heel Scorpio Sky as champion might be even better. So like while I was wrong on the day, before this feud's over, it still might be the case. So more on that later. The big news on Dynamite, though, was the Inner Circle. I'm wearing the Inner Circle shirt actually right now. The War Council, which I love how every promo that they do, it's got to have its own name, right? They got to come up with a different one almost every time. So they go out there and Jericho's like, I think we need to add a member. And MJF's like, no, Chris, I think we need to get rid of a member. And out comes Sammy Guevara. And he mentioned, he put a camera in their locker room, basically how MJF was going to, all right, guys, it's time to kick Jericho out of the Inner Circle. Let's go do this. They all turn back on MJF. Looks like they're going to kick his ass. And then they come back. Lights go out, back on. You got FTR, you got Tully, and you got Shawn Spears. And people are calling it like a new Four Horsemen stable. It's a Four Horsemen-like group. I really don't – they don't have the rights to the Four Horsemen, but they're obviously going to give it a different name. But I love this segment because this had like 4 swerves in about 10 minutes because you thought MJF had the upper hand. No, they knew what he was going to do, but he knew that they knew what he was going to do. And just all this script – like something you'd see in a bad action movie – it's like, I knew you would do that. No, I knew you would do that. So, but at the end of the day, he leaves everybody laying. Jericho gets thrown off the stage, which didn't look super great because you could see the crash pad underneath it. But like the visual of him, getting powerbombed or whatever is one thing. But overall, I'm very intrigued to see where this stable goes. It's MJF, FTR, Shawn Spears, Wardlow, Tully Blanchard. That's what 6 guys, 5 if you don't count Tully as a full-time wrestler. But he showed, the week before that he could still go. But no, this was great. I'm very interested to see tomorrow night where this goes.
Oh yeah. Let's see where it goes. I think this is setting up something for Blood and Guts later on down the line. Inner Circle versus this team. We'll see what the name is. That's what I'm waiting to see. What's do
you have any like? If it was up to you, do you have any names in your head?
No, not really. I was thinking Prophecy.
Mm-hmm.
Just it's not. The thing is, like MJF is only like the youngest one on that whole team, so it's like I wouldn't really say that then.
The thing that get popped in my head, and I'm not even saying it's good, but it won't leave my head. Like it's generic when you think about wrestling. I was just thinking like the stable, not in the sense of like a stable being a group, but like horses are kept in a stable. It's an offshoot of the Four Horsemen. And it's just Tully with this stable of young horses that he can unleash on the world kind of thing. So if they can get like a horse-related pun in there, I'd be all for it, but they might go a whole nother. I think he had I can't think of it, but when he was in MLW, MJF had a team with a name similar to like the Prestige or whatever it was, the New Dynasty or something. But like, I'm sure it'll end up being something like that. But yeah, I'm interested to see the name doesn't really matter as long as it isn't like totally terrible. It'll work out. I think the Inner Circle, I think a lot of people didn't love right away, but it grew on you. So as long as it's not a total total letdown of a name, I think no matter what they do. So that's mostly for that. We have 2 pay-per-views this weekend, obviously the main one being Fastlane. I do want to, before we even get to this, we got some Hall of Fame news. The first bit for the 2021 class, Molly Holly is going to be the first in the 2021 class. 2020, which I'd have to look up again, is getting inducted this year. That's going to be like a Tuesday night, I think. They're doing the Hall of Fame show on Peacock, I believe it is. And so it's gonna be like a 3-hour show because they're gonna induct 2 classes at once. But the bump, the like main YouTube show that WWE does, they had Shane the Hurricane Helms on there, and he got super emotional. Like he kind of like blindsided Molly and letting her know. And like I turned this on not expecting to like have to pull back a tear, but like as like emotional as he got, and then she immediately got about it. This was great. Like I did not expect. Like I never had an issue with Molly Holly. Like she does deserve this and everything. But no, to see it go down that way, I thought they need to do. It's almost like the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I forget the name of that guy, but he just like shows up at your house to like let you know you've made it in the Hall of Fame. I can't think of the guy's name right now, but like Peyton Manning, they just had that happen, and Calvin Johnson and other things. But
I saw Charles Woodson.
They need to do that with not necessarily.
That would be dope.
Not necessarily one person, but like someone that would mean much to and you know what? I hope Hurricane is the person that introduced her too. Him and the Holly and R.I.P. Crash, but Bob Holly and Hurricane should do a little like 1-2 punch and induct her. I think that would be great.
That would be great. I was also thinking. Oh no, never mind. I think it would be perfect for Hurricane to do it. I'm thinking of two different women wrestlers. Like, I was thinking of Steven Richards.
Oh yeah, for Victoria, right? Definitely. When and if that happens, she deserves it, obviously. But was she? Now I gotta look. I think she might have been in the 2020 class that didn't get in. I might have to look that up here in a second. But well, I guess we'll know closer to time because I feel like that, or you know what it is? She's in the TNA Hall of Fame. I think that's what I'm thinking of. But yeah, if that ever comes to fruition, Stevie Richards definitely needs to be the guy introducing her. But no, great for Molly Holly the way they did it. I hope they do more of that. They need to like whoever it is, they can get them on this show. Definitely have the person that would mean a lot to them like pop in and like be like, hey, guess what? You're in the Hall of Fame. I think that was awesome. I can't think of them ever doing anything really close to that ever, except that what's not really what they did. But if you've seen the Resurrection of Jake Roberts documentary, Jake is like training because he wants to like go in the Royal Rumble and do like a couple minutes, and he sits down with DDP. He's like, yeah, they told me I can't be in the Rumble, and he's like, it's bullshit, and he's like almost getting mad. He's like, but they do want me to come to Raw on Monday to be in the Hall of Fame, and he was like, what? So he almost got to rib DDP, but like that's the closest thing I've seen to something like that. So I hope they continue to do this because that just makes it that much better when you see guys getting inducted and stuff. So congrats to Molly Holly. I think, next couple of weeks, again, hope they do more of these and we'll see who continues, who continues to be in this class. And again, it's going to be a long ass induction because they got 2 full classes to do in one night.
Oh yeah. I'm just thinking about WrestleMania weekend, bro. I'm just thinking about the whole WrestleMania, the whole week.
It's a WrestleMania week. Forget the weekend now.
Yeah, that week is going to be crazy.
Yeah.
That's wrestling every day, bro.
Mm-hmm. I hope you don't like funny for me. I'm going to UCF spring game that Saturday of night 1 of WrestleMania, but luckily that game's at like noon, so I'll be home way in time for.
Oh yeah, you're perfect, bro.
So that's one more thing to the calendar that week, I guess. So like I said, we got 2 pay-per-views this weekend. Everyone knows about Fastlane. I'm adding a new segment to the show. It's so new that I haven't even told Donovan about it. I'm just going to call it the NWA Minute. I'm just going to quickly recap things going on with NWA because they are officially back this Sunday at 4:00 before Fastlane. So if you plan on watching Fastlane, it will not interrupt your plans to do that. But they're back with a pay-per-view on Fight TV, back for the Attack, which is main evented by Nick Aldis defending the NWA Championship against Aaron Stevens, the former Damian Mizdow. For those that don't know, they had a wrestler there named Joseph Hudson, who portrayed a character known as the Question Mark, who sadly passed away earlier this month. Him and Aaron Stevens were a tag team before the NWA had to like pause filming and stuff. So this is, while it is a championship match, it's very much a tribute match to him. And there's plenty of other guys that you may have not seen for a while. The Pope D'Angelo De Niro, known as Elijah Burke, is the TV champion. They've brought in Chris Adonis, the former Chris Masters. Crimson, if you remember him from his undefeated career in TNA for his first year or two. I think he finally lost to Samoa Joe, but that's another person you remember. So check it out. Show up for the guys that you know, and maybe you'll find some new guys. Like, for example, Ricky Starks started in AEW, before he got to AEW, was in NWA. Eddie Kingston got a resurgence there. They've brought in a lot of guys through the NWA system. Thunder Rosa will be there. She'll be facing Camille for a normal contenders match for the women's title. The pay-per-view, I think it's like $20 on Fight TV, so much cheaper than your full-blown stuff. And after that, Power will be back starting on Tuesday. So every time we do an episode, I'm going to do, like I said, roughly a minute just to catch people up on what's going on, what I think they should check out if they get a chance. So that's our first NWA Minute back for the Attack, 4 p.m. on Sunday. And check it out. It's a really good lead-in to Fastlane.
Oh, yeah. I might actually check it out because I might find a way to watch it. I'm fine. I might watch it. I might check it out. While I'm at work, I'm gonna check it out.
I'm probably gonna pick it up, so I might be able to give you my Fight login too. So see if we can make that work. But that also jumps to Fastlane on Sunday, and for a while there was one pay-per-view between Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. For the longest time, it was No Way Out. It recently, not recently, but 5 years ago, whatever, became Elimination Chamber. And it made that one seem important. And then they even had like that roadblock for a little while, right? And then they turned it into this. I think they're doing their best to make these matches matter. I don't know how many of them really do. But I think the one thing I do want to I'm going to go least important, I think, to most important. The first one, I will say this. I'm glad it's happening now because otherwise this might have taken up a spot on WrestleMania. Apparently,
I know exactly where you're going.
Apparently, Don. Apparently, we're getting Braun Strowman versus Shane McMahon.
Go ahead. Next match.
Well, we haven't done a Who Booked This shit in a while, but yeah, he threw slime on Braun Strowman. I didn't know they're gonna announce their Nickelodeon partnership here, I guess, in the next week or so. Is it gonna be are they gonna do the Mimosa Mayhem match but with puddles of slime or something? I don't know what the point of this is. I wouldn't mind seeing Shane McMahon in the ring if it was done when he fought the Miz, a couple years ago. That was cool. I was at the WrestleMania when he fought AJ Styles, and while that was out of place, at least the match was good. So but yeah, not much more to say about this. Yeah, I hope this opens the show and it just gets out of the way. So
yeah.
I hope the NWA pay-per-view runs a little long and I don't even have to see this. So we'll see what happens. Put it on the pre-show. I don't care. But next we got Drew.
They're not gonna do that with Shane McMahon.
No, of course not. No,
of course not, bro.
I'd be more surprised if it's not the main event. Put it over the Universal title. Put it over everything else. So we also got Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus, which would be great, but they just had this amazing 40-minute match on Raw. If they would have saved that for this, it would have maybe got people talking.
Is this gonna be a regular match or is this gonna be a last man standing match?
It says singles match at the moment, but I mean, who knows? They might have to change that up a little bit. If it's as good as the one from Raw, I'm sure it'll be entertaining to watch. So it's really hard to do that though. You have a night where everything kind of clicks, and then you're okay, great, do it again. It's like when you when you throw something in the trash can from the other side of the room, and you're did anybody see it? And they're like, no, I didn't see it. Do it again. And you're like, I can't just do it again.
I can't do it again. Come on now.
That's what this is gonna be like. So we'll see. Not that this isn't important, but this was kind of thrown in there, and apparently we're getting an intergender match between Alexa Bliss and Randy Orton. And I think we both know where this is going, which is the return of The Fiend. And maybe we will get The Fiend and Randy Orton at WrestleMania, and The Fiend can avenge his loss for the title at WrestleMania 33 that I was at, where they did the stupid projection screen bugs on the ring. So maybe they can do another. I don't think they'll do like a Firefly Funhouse match necessarily. There's going to be 45,000 people there, and they're not going to want to watch the screen, I don't think. But they could at least do, like Raven used to have what's called a Clockwork Orange match, and it was just this weird hardcore match. Maybe they do something like that. But do you think any bumps get taken here? Like, he's already RKO'd Bliss. Like, he might do that again. But I don't know how much of a match this is really going to be.
Yeah, I don't know either. Like, I think for sure the Fiend's coming out. I think we probably get 5 minutes of Alexa laughing at Randy. Randy or no son Randy, not Randy. Alexa no selling Randy. And then finally the lights cut out and then boom.
Something like that. It'll be interesting to see. It's obviously going to be more of a show than a match, but it'll be a nice change up of things. Next we have, so the 6 matches total on this card. This is like the halfway point. This is where the title matches start. We got Big E defending the IC title against Apollo Cruz. We got 2 things to talk about before we get to this match. First, we got Apollo Cruz's new gimmick. And before I even say a word, I want to know, how do you feel about this? And I looked it up. He is, in fact, Nigerian, Apollo Cruz. So that was my first thought. I'm like, if he's from Michigan, like, this doesn't work. Like, you can't do that, like, back in the 90s, where, like, Yokozuna was portrayed as a Japanese guy. If you try to do that today, you'd be like, no, he's Samoan. Like, that don't make any sense. Like, they didn't try to do that with Umaga. They made him Samoan. But, so he is actually Nigerian. This comes from a real place of his. That being said, that makes me okay with it. But, like, it does give him more flavor than he's had since he's been on the roster.
Bro, I'm all for it. The only part I still have is like he throws in like his accent here and there. It's a full blown man. Full blown with it. He just don't I think it's gonna be a change of pace for him, and I'm happy for it. I was always a big fan of Apollo Crews.
He's great in the ring.
NXT. Yeah.
And the one thing he almost covered up the accent thing, because he's like, I used to try to hide my accent because people would look at you a certain way. So if it comes in and out, it almost makes sense, like if that's true, how somebody felt and they were hiding it, now they're trying to let it come out. Like, it's not going to be like full, maybe in like a couple months, while he gets more acquainted with it. And just the story that he's portraying, I think it could work out great. And this, like I said, definitely gives him, I think the spear is a little much, but the guys he's got with him and everything, it makes him feel important. I saw the joke. It was like, oh, I guess Vince finally saw Black Panther.
Hey, that's funny. That is hilarious.
Which to me, by the way, total different subject, probably the second best Marvel movie. My favorite is Captain America Winter Soldier. And then Civil War is very good to me too. But Black Panther, I went into that movie not really knowing anything about the character, and I was just blown away by it. So
yeah, bro, same here, bro.
I mean, it's weird because we're talking about a whole other subject, but like they bring him in the Avengers movie before he got his like full blown movie.
Absolutely, yeah.
So you're just like, oh, who's this cool guy? And then like you get his full story in the next movie. So R.I.P. Chadwick Boseman. But back to the, I think it's good for him because like he's done all he could do. Is just like when you talk about a smiling white meat baby face, he was the epitome of that because he really had no other. He would get mad or whatever, but that was about it. Like it made him look. I don't know. You couldn't connect with a guy that wasn't showing any real emotion, and now you can because he can be angry. He can be, it really just shows a side of him that we hadn't seen before. Yeah. And speaking of seeing a side of somebody that we've never seen before, holy cow! That promo by Big E on
he saved Smackdown for me. And to be honest, to be 100% with you.
So this reminded me of when Mark Henry started the Hall of Pain storyline. Like Mark Henry, he's been on the roster for 20 years and he's just been kind of there. And this isn't my joke. I'm not going to claim it, but it's always stuck in my head. It's like an Adam Blatpier bit where he started, like just killing people and everyone just turned around and were like, Jesus, Mark, have you been here the whole time? And that's exactly what I felt like. We love Big E. We know like throwing pancakes and dancing and all the, doing the split and everything. And apparently his dad was a preacher and you can see that in this, like you could tell that's where this comes from. but it really brought him back to like NXT Big E when he was pinning people for a 5 count. So it'd be a challenge kind of thing. And like this Big E needs to stay. This is the Big E that will become world champion, I think.
I think so too. And bro, it was great. It was just great.
And Apollo's, gimmick changes is great for him, but I think Big E needs to retain. He's on. The only way I would drop the belt now is if you're going to put him in a world title picture sooner than later, which I don't think you can really do right now because that is already kind of crowded right now, which we'll probably, if we don't get to it now, we'll get to it before WrestleMania, obviously. NXT Women's Tag Team title match, Nia Jax versus Shayna Baszler against Sasha and Bianca. I'm not going to lie. Vince loves to do this. He did it with Cena and Michaels. I think he did it with Cena and Batista at one point too. Like, don't be shocked if they win the belts for like 11 days and then like drop them to somebody else. Just to.
I don't want them to do that though, man.
You do or you don't?
I do not want them to do it. I'd rather someone else go against Nia and Shayna. Just because I feel like they're messing up the storyline, and I loved Reginald at first, man, but he's killing me. He's starting to really kill the momentum for Sasha and Bianca. The storyline hasn't been all that good for me with this.
Yeah, I know the match.
WrestleMania.
The match is going to be good, and that's what. Like the build will be whatever, but when they get in the ring, like they're going to be too talented to not have like the matches of the night. Like I said, as far as this match goes, don't be shocked if they win it because Vince just likes to do that for whatever.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either.
Yeah. Now we're into the main event here. What I assume will be the main event here is Roman Reigns defending the title against Daniel Bryan.
That's definitely gonna be a main event, bro.
You never know. Shane McMahon, big match. Shane might be in the main event. You don't know.
Oh my gosh.
But Roman and Daniel Bryan with special guest enforcers. This says Edge or Jey Uso. Is that?
Yeah, they're gonna have a match on Friday to see who's gonna be the special enforcer.
I kind of like that. That's different. I don't think they've ever done that before, that to my knowledge. So I'm down with that.
Now my thing is it gonna be a special referee or is it just gonna be like a?
This says enforcer, and you can't lie on Wikipedia, so that's got to be the case. So I think it's obviously right. I think Roman wins this. One way. Even if Edge is the enforcer, I think he's gonna accidentally like cost Daniel Bryan the kind of thing. Do you see this ending up as a triple threat?
Bro, I was gonna tell you that. I was like, yo, bro, I already see it coming, man. They're gonna have it's gonna be a triple threat match at WrestleMania between Daniel Bryan, Roman Reigns, and Edge. And Daniel Bryan's gonna eat the pin. Edge is gonna win, but Daniel Bryan's gonna take the pin.
I could see that. I
wouldn't be surprised.
The whole story that's kind of coming out that this might be Daniel Bryan's last WrestleMania is what makes this so interesting. Here's my thing. Like, if that happens, that's fine. But the story in the background that could work out is we get Roman and Edge like we think we are. And then I would kind of love Daniel Bryan against Jey Uso. I think that would actually be a great, if given the time. I know they've been like around each other, but they haven't gotten to just have like that match kind of thing. I think they had like the cage match, right? Was that him?
They had the cage match and they had the match before where they got they counted out. Yeah,
so they haven't really gotten, so like there's a version of this where Daniel Bryan still gets to have like a great WrestleMania moment kind of thing. And maybe Jimmy has been around, but then he kind of disappeared again. I don't know what the story is with that. I think it'd be great for him to come back for good in this match or whatever. Cause like, I like it. There's not much to talk about this. We're kind of looking ahead now, but like, I don't think Edge should win the title. Like, we don't need that right now. We finally have Roman as champ in a way that people are okay with. We don't need to screw it yet, you know?
Yeah, I feel that. I feel what you mean. I just see it being, because I mean the story is there. When Edge retired back in the day, he had to relinquish his heavyweight title. He won the title and then he had to relinquish it. So I think the story's there. Just see what they're gonna do about it.
I mean, if he wins the title at Mania for the great moment, I think Roman will kind of win it back down the way Randy won it randomly from Drew just to drop it. Like, so Yeah, if it works out like that, I think I could see that happening.
True.
So as this show should go, like the matches will be whatever, but really this show is there to carry storylines into WrestleMania. And WrestleMania is 2 nights. They've upped what they think is 45,000 people per night, which in a way, this is why Vince is doing it. That's more people than Raymond James holds in, by doing it double. That's over a sellout if it was one night kind of a thing. And we don't talk about UFC on the show rarely or at all, but yesterday there was an announcement from Dana White that they're going to have a card sometime next month in Jacksonville with a full 15,000 seat arena, open capacity. Somebody had to be first. Dana is. I heard somebody, but Dana White is what Vince McMahon used to be. Like just and Vince McMahon's still crazy. Like don't get it twisted, but like Dana White's a whole nother level of that. So like, I hope it goes great. I know some friends at work that are going to maybe look into getting tickets and everything. They're going to be through the roof though. Like UFC tickets are expensive regardless because it's not like Raw where there's one every week. There's like 3 shows a month at UFC, maybe. Sometimes there's
it's supposed to be a big card too.
Big fight, like 3 title fights and everything. So, which is great. Like I hope it goes awesome. Like from what I understand, and I don't talk politics on here. From what I understand, the Super Bowl went fine, and they had like 27,000 people when you factor in like workers. They had like 20,000 people, and then you got the teams, the staff, the coaches, the people that work the event, the this, that, and the other. So you're probably looking around like 30,000 people, I think, if you factor in everybody. We live in Florida. I didn't hear about a huge spike in Tampa afterwards, so I'm thinking they can pull this off the way they want to. Like I'm going to the UCF spring game the morning of Mania. You got to wear a mask, you got to social distance, yada yada. That's fine. If you can do it safely, I say do it. I'm sure the UFC isn't like, leave your mask at home. It's fine. Like, I'm sure they still are going to take precautions and everything.
Oh, yeah. So, but I wouldn't put it past Dana to say that, though.
That's true. And then, like, at the end, he'll be like, no, I'm kidding. You should bring it. Just bring it. Like, do something like that. I mean, this is the guy that said, like, oh, if you illegally stream my event, like, I'm going to find you. He's going to like kick in your living room when you're watching it with your buddies or something.
He's going to come through the screen and kick your ass.
Yeah. These people are probably like, Mr. White, we can't actually find these people.
Yeah, we can't.
But no, so this is great for sporting events and just events and concerts. Like people, want to get back to doing things like that. And, vaccines are getting out there. My fiance got her vaccine over the weekend. Like people are getting it, it's like it, depending on your job, I think, and your age and everything, you'll get it sooner or later than other people. But like, it's starting to get out there, and that's a good thing. And we're going to get back to my big question too is I don't think Vince is going to do 45,000 people back-to-back nights and then go back to the Performance Center. Like he must have a plan for afterwards.
From what I'm hearing is that they're going to actually go. They're going to be in at USF Stadium because the baseball league is going to be starting soon.
Yeah. So they got to get out of
there. So they got to get out of there, and they're gonna go probably over at USF.
By USF, do you mean like their basketball arena?
You probably
Okay, because they don't own their own football stadium. They rent.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're not big time. They're not UCF. They don't get it. They don't have an on-campus stadium or
anything. Ooh, and the rivalry continues.
Yeah. No, trust me, that is a big. That's a big thing amongst fans that they don't even have an indoor practice facility. Like we're in Florida, man. Like get that shit done. I don't know. We've talked a bunch of other subjects that wasn't wrestling on this, so might as well throw that in there too. But no, the basketball arena, I think it's like the Sun Dome, I think it's called. Like that's actually a pretty cool place to be frank about it. So no, that would work, and that place probably holds 3,000 people or something. Like they can make it like it'll almost be like the Impact Zone. Like the Impact Zone was one of the coolest, not the current one, but like the old back in the day Universal Studios. One of the coolest places to watch wrestling I've ever been at. And it probably only held 2,000 people. Like when you really look at it. So it's really just how you present it and stuff. And I mean like NXT Full Sail, I think that place holds 900 people. I think as I've walked in, I've seen like the capacity thing on the door. So it's not the amount of people, it's who they are and just the way you present them. So I think if they do that, I think that'll work out pretty well.
Definitely. We'll see what happens. I hope that they bring back the fans. I don't want them doing the touring, going back on tour and stuff. I'd rather them stay here in Florida, stay seated, and just ride it out until we could actually like finally go do tours and go to arenas and all this stuff.
I wouldn't be shocked if they end up in Texas at some point because they're the ones telling you to leave.
Oh yeah, so yeah.
And there's so many colleges there with basketball arenas and baseball parks, and like they could just throw a dart, hit a venue, and book it. Like they would have the space to do that. So like AEW's even said, yes, we know that Texas is open. We're not going to be the first ones to go there, but we are definitely monitoring like that situation. So that might be that we've been the wrestling capital of the world through this whole thing, obviously in Florida. So like I think Texas will be the next place to host bigger shows like that. But it remains to be seen. But we got 2 pay-per-views over the weekend. We got AEW and NXT tomorrow. So hope everybody enjoys that. I think we're about wrapped up here. I want to thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next time.